Hi guys, in this video we're going to use JNI and we're going to make JavaFX window talk to a C++ window. Let's call it native window and let's create native window app. It's going to be our normal JavaFX application, and this high-level application is going to call some C++ application, which is going to open its own window. So we're going to end up with two windows. I want to do something fun with them, because there are plenty of JNI tutorials out there. What I want is something unique. So let's do the usual: pane, root, new pane, root, set preferred size. Nope, return root. Let's create canvas. Also same size. We're going to need a graphics context to draw. And we need an animation timer. Let's start the timer before I forget. Let's add the canvas to the root. And then start drawing some stuff. Fill rectangle, x is 0, y is something, y. Width is the entire width, and 1 height. So if we have actually let's set it to int. Then we should be able to draw rows, right? That's what I'm planning to do. And imagine, well, actually you don't have to imagine it, we can just run this, right? If y is 600, then simply return. Let's try this. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, looks good. Now, if we open another window to the right-hand side of this one, then, well, first of all, let's put it on the left. Set x 100, stage set y 100. And then suppose we have a different native window. Let's call it native window. This is a class that's going to store some information about a different kind of native window, which we're going to call through JNI constructor. Yeah, so I'll just try and mimic JavaFX API. Show, and then what do we say? Is it fill rectangle? How about that? If we have another fill rectangle, void int x, y, width, and height. Now imagine if we create that window here somewhere, native window, set it to exactly the same size. X and Y, it's 100 plus 800, so that we could put it on the right-hand side, and then width is exactly the same, and height also the same. Then we could check if the row is divisible by 2, and if it is, then draw that row in JavaFX window. Else draw that row in the native window. How about that? That's going to make it interesting. Just pass the same thing, I guess. That looks all right. Let's generate this stuff now. Right, so this is our native window wrapper. Show is going to call something else. So in order to create a function or a method that is native, you just add native modifier, and you then let the runtime figure it out, kind of thing. Private, actually, why don't we just make this thing native as well? In which case we don't have to have another private public native void. Should do it. Show should probably be first because we're going to call it first. This should call and show x, y, w, and height. We're saying these are functions that are going to exist at runtime, but they're going to be implemented in a different language. So this is typically how you say this thing is to be loaded, as in we're going to load a library, and that library is going to contain these functions. In order to create a native window, we're going to call, or we're going to use the native C++ SDL2 library, which is written in C, and we're going to use our own library. Let's call it native window. That looks all right. Since native window is going to be dependent on SDL2, we're going to load SDL2 first. And then here at some point we need to show this. How about this gets called in a new thread? Because we probably want to block it. In which case I can just call this here and it just gets to a different thread while we keep running this in a JavaFX thread. That looks fine. Right, now we need to compile this into a header file. We need to produce a header file from this basically. JavaFX tutorials, source, what's the package? It's native window. Okay, so these are the files. JavaC -h dot, which basically says produce the files in this directory, and then the name of the file that contains native functions. It's done it, I think. It produced the .h file. Yep, that looks all right. Let's copy that for now and head over to Visual Studio. We're going to produce a new project. We're going to have a dynamic library project, DLL. Let's call it native window. Location is fine. Start with other projects. Yeah, let's give this a go. So it generated some stuff for us, which we don't really need. I'm just going to get rid of all this. Delete, delete, delete. I will need a new header file, which I'm going to call native window, and just pop this in here, copy paste it from what Java gave us. And this header file now needs to be implemented in the source file. New item, cpp, native window.cpp. All we need is to implement these two functions, which are native to, well, they're native to C++, and we said in here, in the Java file, that they are native. And if you look closely, you'll find that the function signatures are actually very similar. This is X, this is Y, this is W and H. And this function actually has exactly the same signature, which is fine. So you can see show, fill rectangle, it's the same things that we created. Now it doesn't see those because include JNI doesn't get recognized, so we need to add these into C++ general. Additionally include directories, yeah, that's what we need. We're going to add JDK. Let's go with JDK. Does it matter? I don't know. Let's go with 15. And then include. That should do it. Now let's add the SDL library includes. So the headers should be fine now. Yep, they went away. This is fine for compilation. What about runtime? Additional dependencies. Yeah, we need SDL2 in here, SDL2.lib. Okay, apply. Okay, that SDL.lib lives over here somewhere. This needs to go to native window. I think over here. I should do it. If it doesn't, we'll just figure it out. So this thing is now calling some SDL stuff, and I've got the SDL API over here, documentation of it. I think the first thing I need is create window. Yeah, that one. Good thing about official documentation is it has lots of examples and reference code. So we need to include it first. And we also probably want to include our own native window.h. What else? We're going to initialize SDL. Let's do this in the show function. And then that creates the window. Okay. Pointer to a window. It's called native window. SDL create window. That's the X and Y, right? Initial X position, which we have from here. So I might as well just pass this. This is width, this is height. And what are the flags? We want to show the window, right? And we don't need any OpenGL context. Okay, let's just call this one then. So we got that bit. This should create the window, and then there's poll events for creating a loop, because I want to have a loop somewhere. I don't think we need any of these. Yeah, that one. It should give us the loop that we're looking for. Because I don't want this function to exit. Yeah, this looks fine. Just put true in there. While true, do this. Yeah, that's fine, because that gets blocked by our thread, and it's not a JavaFX thread, so it should be good to go. How do I render stuff? I think it's simply with render. Create, render. There we go. Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, so how about we have a pointer to SDL render over here so we can store it. And then create the render using this thing. I'm assuming this is the window that we pass in. -1 is for initialize first one supporting. Yep, that's fine. Block. Yeah, that's actually useful. If the user wanted to exit the application, we probably want to let the user exit. Clear, copy, and then present. do need present. So what I'm thinking is we'll do something very similar to what we did in the JavaFX layer. Just fill the rectangle and don't clear the graphics context. So we're going to just draw something. Oh, I do have this ID in there, ID support, which is good. So render rare draw line. Or is there a fill? Yeah, let's go with fill, because that's going to be very similar to what we are doing. So that takes a rectangle, which is x, y, width, and height. Oh yeah, we are passing all this stuff in, so I don't actually need to think about it. We'll just use what we have, and render, and then rectangle. And we pass by pointer. Render, rectangle. Yep, that looks good. I think we're done here. Build. Failed. Unexpected end of file PCH. Oh yeah, we don't have precompiled headers. I think there's a way to disable that. Optimization system. There we go, precompiled headers. Not using precompiled headers. Are we good now? No. Cannot include file JNI md.h. Okay, shall we change it back to JDK8? Oh, I wonder if I need to include that Win32 directory as well. Possibly. Let's program files, JDK15, include, and also include this thing. So we're including the top level directory and also Win32. Oh, and the errors went away, at least in the ID. That should do it. No. Undeclared identifier, E, Windows CVP 32. Should be event. Oh, we're building for x86. Let's build for x64 because the SDLWindow library is x64. Do I have to change it for each architecture? That's weird. Precompiled headers. No, not using them. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. It has, oh yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, you do have to have separate includes for x68 and 86 and 64. Right, so what am I including? I'm including SDLLibs. Then we're including the Windows JNI stuff, which is over here. Then I'm including basically Control-C, Control-V, that Win32. Okay, apply. What about linker? Input. Let's change that to SDLT.lib. Okay, apply. Okay. Build. Yay! We have a one a project that succeeded and it produced apparently native window DLL, which is what we need. So where's that DLL though? x64. Not in here. There we go. I think that's the one. Control C that thing into FX tutorials, which is the top level directory in ID here, which is, I assume, where it will be looking for that file. Then we need SDL2 DLL, x64. So both DLLs are here now. Let's go into our application and try to run this thing. Something failed, expecting an absolute path of the library. I wonder if we should be calling the other load library function. Okay. What am I seeing here? What am I looking at? Well, for starters, I think it's the DPI thing, which is why this window is much smaller. It's probably a quarter of this, right? Yeah, that looks like it. So I need to increase the size of that by 2. Also, probably by default, the color is black. So let's do that and draw with white. If I close this, this should... Oh, it doesn't close, okay. Oh yeah, because it's still looping, I suppose. Good news is, we created a native window and we possibly even drew something. But because it's color black by default, we didn't see anything. So let's change a few things here. We're going to set fill color to white. And we are going to fill rectangle 0, 0, these values. So this will create a black rectangle. Then we're going to draw with color white. And let's do the same with C++ side of things. For starters, I need this way bigger. Multiplied by 2, I guess. Multiplied by 2, which should give us the right ratio. Sorry, it's not these things. It's over here that I need to multiply by 2. By 2. I'm not sure what to do with this, actually. X and Y possibly need to be multiplied as well, but I don't care too much about that. Rectangle. So by default, it's the color black. So we need to change the draw color to white. I think it's set render something. Draw color, yeah. Okay, so, well, that'll do. Render 255, everything 255. This gives us color white. Now control, well, just build it. We now have a working build, so we should just be able to get into this thing, copy and just drop it in here again, overwrite, and then restart this. Almost. So the window is twice as big, which means I need to, why it doesn't take the, input, I don't know. It should be in here somewhere if it's quit the loop. I wonder if I need to destroy the window. SDL destroy window. Anyway, I don't care about that stuff. What I do care about is this needs to be twice as big, I think. And then y needs to be multiplied by 2 as well, possibly. It should multiply everything by 2. I think that's because of the high DPI thing. Build this. We really need to set the build output to that directory where I run the Java code. Nice. It's not as visible, but the idea was that odd rows are drawn on one window and even rows are drawn on the other window to have this seamless effect of having one big window. Half of that is in JavaFX, half of that is in SDL C++. But in any case, that was fun, making two languages talk to each other. And I hope you have an idea or a better idea of how JNI is done. It basically creates this bridge between your Java code and native code, whatever that native means. It could be written in C or C++ or potentially in a different language. And it allows you to have this access to platform-specific stuff, which is not portable. Like, well, SDL2 is portable because we're not using any Windows APIs. But it needs to be compiled on each of the platforms that you're targeting. So that could be problematic. But then there are advantages and disadvantages to many things in software development. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.